If you're looking for a very efficient and low maintenance way of planning your USMLE study schedule, then this video is for you. So it takes the average IMG 6 to 9 months to study for the USMLE Step 1. And the biggest issue that most students have is staying on track for such a long period of time. Over my time studying for Step 1, I've personally experimented with lots of different study schedules, but I've honestly struggled to find something that helped me balance medicine with my hobbies and also now this YouTube channel. But actually over the past few weeks, I've ditched my Excel spreadsheet and I've been using Cramfighter to plan all of my USMLE studying. So in today's video, I'm going to tell you the lessons that I learned creating my study schedule from scratch, and I'm also going to talk about Cramfighter and how it resolved some of the difficulties I had. By the way, if you're new here, my name's Chris and I make videos about my IMG journey. So this is the first study schedule I created about a year ago. I started by writing down what I would do in my morning block, mid-afternoon block, and then my evening block. And I said, so let's say today I'd do GI. I would spend the morning doing Anki cards. I would spend the mid-afternoon doing GI, let's say in first aid, and then I'd do 20 UWorld questions. So the biggest downside you can probably tell for creating this spreadsheet was that it was very hands-on and very manual process. I also tracked the study resources I was using. So I had tables for all of the Boards and Beyond videos, all of the Pathoma videos, and also Sketchy Farm and Sketchy Micro. What might be the biggest benefit for some people is that creating your own schedule is absolutely free. If you have the time to invest, then why not? I personally found that some of the biggest downsides of this study schedule that I created is that it's extremely inflexible. And let me show you why. Let's say it's September 24th and I'm supposed to be studying micro today, but I didn't finish reading the number of first aid pages that I was supposed to finish reading. Now I'm in a situation where I'm delaying GI to next week. So now I've got to go down. And you can imagine that if I have several other things inputted in the table below, it's very difficult and it gets quite overwhelming to shift everything down. Now, obviously, I think this is a big limitation of my personal spreadsheet. There's probably better ways that I could have done this. But when I was in my dedicated study period, it was very difficult for me to engineer a better solution to this because I just didn't have the time. So this whole process, at least for me, it was very time consuming and it was also very stressful. There were a lot of days when I had a lot on my mind in terms of USMLE studying, and the last thing I wanted to think about was engineering my study schedule and making sure my study schedule worked. I just wanted to wake up in the morning and be told what to study. So if you're the kind of person that's a little bit OCD and you get stressed out when things aren't exactly perfect, I think this will produce too much anxiety. For me, this spreadsheet created more anxiety than it did solve. The goal of your study schedule should be to reduce anxiety. Because it was very inflexible and because my study schedule was constantly changing, I felt like I was never truly on top of the study schedule, and that produced a lot of unnecessary anxiety. I found a lot of times when I was supposed to be thinking about USMLE studying and medicine, I would be thinking in the back of my mind, oh, okay, is my study schedule up to date? Is there something that I've missed that I should be studying right now, but I've forgotten about it? Did I remember to update and tick my schedule today? It was all very stressful. In David Allen's Getting Things Done, he sort of introduces the idea that our brains are for coming up with ideas, not for storing them. So basically he said that we can cause ourselves a lot of undue stress and anxiety by trying to hold on to lots of pieces of information in our mind that we could be automating in some way. So if we can apply this to your study schedule, you shouldn't be burdening your brain's RAM or storage with thinking about this study schedule. You need to automate it in a way that you think about it as little as possible. So I hope this tour through my old Excel spreadsheet kind of helped you guys. I'll leave it linked in the description, but I really don't recommend using it. It's in a bit of a bad state at the moment. And plus I would recommend that you try and automate this process anyway by using the software that I'm about to talk about, which is Cramfighter. So Cramfighter is basically a web app, and it's also available on the App Store, that takes all the guesswork out of the equation. And so I've been using it for a few weeks now to basically automate my study schedule. Every morning when I sit down with my cup of coffee, I open Cramfighter and it tells me exactly what I need to study that day. So all Cramfighter is it's a scheduling software online where you put in your resources and it tells you what to do. It's made it much easier for me to juggle this YouTube channel with medicine and USMLE studying. And I think that's really important to reduce something called decision fatigue. So decision fatigue is something that was invented by Roy F. Baumeister, and it's basically, he said that when you wake up every day, you have a certain amount of energy that eventually, after making so many decisions in a day, you'll eventually tire yourself out and you'll get fatigued. And that's bad in USMLE studying because we want to retain that energy for studying, so answering flashcards or doing practice questions, things of that nature. By the way, if you're getting value from this video, I'd really appreciate if you liked and subscribed to the channel. It's free and you can always unsubscribe in the future if you stop getting value out of these videos. Alright, so let's say you decide you want to stick with Cramfighter. I'm going to take you how you would set it up the first time round. So first we need to pick the exam, so we're going to pick the USMLE Step 1 because that's what we're studying for. And let's say we want to take it in January 15th, because you want to get that numbered score. The first thing you're introduced with is something called study blocks. So the way Cramfighter works is it divides up your studying time into these blocks, and for each block you can assign different resources that you want to study. So let's say you want to do Boards and Beyond, you want to do Pathoma, and you want to do Sketchy. So you would assign those resources in different blocks. And you can also have overlapping blocks. So let's say you want to have a Sketchy block for 5 months of your study period, but you want overlapping blocks with other resources, you can do that as well, and I'll show you how to do that. So let's say you want to do 4 months of Sketchy videos. You'll go till November, so that's 4 months of Sketchy videos, and let's save that as the first study block. And what we'll do actually, so we're going to call this Sketchy block. Let's save that. And what you can do is actually schedule a catch-up day. So on these catch-up days, they will not assign you any study tasks. It's really important that you assign time for catch-up days because you never know what's going to happen in your life that you might need to delay some of your studying, and this allows you to have some flexibility in your timetable. Again, it's really important that your study schedule has flexibility to stop you getting stressed out over it. You can also put in your exam practice days. I've already got these done in. These are actually the practice tests that I'm planning on taking on these specific days, so you can copy that word for word if you're taking it also in January. And also these are unscheduled days. So these are very specific days. You can put in birthdays, or I like to do an unscheduled full day after each of my practice exams. So I have a full day sort of vacation day where it's not going to assign me anything and I can just go over the practice exam the day after with no other responsibilities. So let's save that. All right, so now we're selecting our resources. So you literally just type Sketchy in the search bar, and you can do Sketchy Micro, Sketchy Path, Sketchy Farm. So I recommend you do Sketchy Farm, click Select All, lovely, and then select everything. And now we will add Sketchy Farm as well, or Sketchy Micro. Click Select All. Now there are more Sketchy Micro videos, but they're a lot shorter. Okay, so now there are two things that you have to pay attention to here. They have something called the time allocated for each hour of lecture. So that means for each hour of Sketchy videos, it has assigned you 8 hours to get through that video. So the student average is the average amount of time that they think it would take a student to get through an hour of Sketchy videos. So the reason why the student average is the way it is because Cramfighter recognizes that students don't get through an hour of lecture in an hour. You know, sometimes when you're watching a video, you want to pause it to make a note or really try and ingest the material. So it's also a good idea to be flexible in the amount of time that you think you're going to spend on a resource. Yeah, so we click continue. Now, we can also do all sorts of sorting options like sorting by subject, sorting by resource. So we can choose to go through by resource, which would mean we go through Farm first and then all of Sketchy. I personally like to go through things chronologically, so this is what I've chosen, as opposed to by system. And this is the study hours, so I mentioned this before. This is how many hours that you think you're going to spend on each resource per day. So if I put in, let's say I want to watch 3 hours of Sketchy every single day, and I like to spend I like to have a day off, so I will put 0 for Saturday. Now if I click save, it will update the time allocated for each hour of lecture. So I'll do finish and view schedule, and I'll just show you what it looks like. So that's kind of what it would look like if you were setting it up from scratch. I'm not going to recalculate the schedule now because I actually have a schedule. I started doing Sketchy videos on June 14th, and I'm going to continue doing them I assign myself sort of 2 months to get through all of Sketchy. So I'm scheduled to finish Sketchy Micro on July 31st. And if you look over here, you can see that Cramfighter has looked at the number of lectures that I've assigned myself over the number of days, and it's assigned me 1.5 hours to get through each hour of lecture. So that means I have about a half an hour of leeway to get through each hour of Sketchy that I have to watch. So let's go into my study schedule now and we'll view it. So now you can view in a week. You can see that I have plenty of overdue videos. I've actually been slacking on it recently. This is actually a great time for me to show you how the flexibility works in Cramfighter. So I am overdue on all of these videos I have to watch, right? But if I look at today, I've got nothing scheduled for today. So what am I gonna do, right? Tomorrow I have to watch these videos, but I have all of these other videos that I'm overdue on. So I go up here to overdue tasks and I click on that, and these are all the tasks that are overdue. So many that it doesn't even fit on one page. So basically I need to rebalance my schedule so that those overdue tasks are spread over all my future days. So I go to edit and I click rebalance and I redistribute over future days. And I rebalance the tasks starting today if I want to keep studying today, and rebalance them starting tomorrow if I don't want any tasks today. So that's what I'm going to pick for me because I'm not studying today. Rebalance the schedule. And there we go. So as you can see, today I'm done studying, so there isn't anything due for today. And there you have it. If I scroll up, you can see that for all previous days, I have no overdue tasks. But if you scroll down, you can see NSAIDs, gout drugs, triptans, all of these were videos that I was supposed to watch before. But, and now this is something you have to be careful of, just because I have rebalanced my schedule doesn't mean that the amount of videos I have to watch has changed. It went from 1 hour of lecture I have to watch every day. Now I have to watch 1.5 hours of lecture every single day to keep up with the schedule I've assigned myself. So now I just want to give you a broad overview of the different blocks that I have set up for my Cramfighter schedule, and maybe you can model based off of when you guys are taking the test. So here's the basic setup for me. I started studying around the 1st of June and decided that I was going to go through all of Sketchy Farm and Sketchy Micro in 2 months. So the first block was from June 14th to July 31st. And I selected 4 resources, so Sketchy Farm, Sketchy Micro, and I also put in UWorld and Anki cards. The second third of my time I assigned to doing other resources like Boards and Beyond and Pathoma, which I want to go through. And you can see, if I click here, I've assigned myself Anki, Boards and Beyond, Pathoma, and also UWorld questions. So I'm going to continue doing them from August 1st to January 1st. And then obviously I have the final month before my test, which I've only assigned myself 1 resource, and that is UWorld questions. So basically Cramfighter is doing everything for me. It's assigning me the resources I'm supposed to study, okay, including UWorld questions, videos I need to watch, as well as Anki flashcards. It's also assigning me my practice test days, so it's also fulfilling that function. So you can see that I have 5 scheduled practice days and also 12 unscheduled sort of days off. Some of those are the days off where I'm doing work, and some of them are birthdays and holidays and that type of thing. But remember that the most powerful feature of this app is the rebalance feature. So if you guys think this is a good idea, I think you should sign up for Cramfighter today. Just give it a go. You get a free week trial if you go to their website, I think. And I really think more people should be using this app because it's taken a really big load off of my mind to know that all I have to do is log onto this website and it will tell me exactly what I need to be studying every single day. If you guys have any comments or questions surrounding this app, just leave a comment down below and I promise I'll get back to you. I answer all my comments. If you found this video helpful at all, you should check out this video here where I talk about all the specific resources that I'm using to study for Step 1 personally. I'll see you guys later. Cheers.